terms of similarities. What's a similarity? Okay, so one similarity is if you're going to burn wood, we all know that you have to allow gas to get access to the fire or else it won't burn. And you probably know when you want to really get a fire raging, you either blow on it or you take a bellows and like pump gas on it to deliver more oxygen to it, because it does also consume oxygen in the process, right? What's another similarity? So when you burn it, when we burn, we exhale the carbon from the molecule we ate as carbon dioxide. And that's weird to think about, but it's true. You breathe out carbon that came into your body as food. So you eat a solid and you breathe out a gas that's the same atoms. It's kind of a weird thing to consider, right? What's another similarity? CO2. All right. There's one big similarity on the left side of the equation that no one has pointed out yet.
Oxygen.
Okay, oxygen I think was already pointed out. You need
Oh,
oxygen.
okay.
But there's another similarity.
So wood considered food?
The wood isn't, well, for us wood's not food. For some animals it is. But what is wood? Yeah, so wood is cellulose. Cellulose is a polymer of glucose, right? So the cell wall of the plant is cellulose. It's made out of glucose. So the reality is that the input on this side is the same thing, essentially. Like the bulk of the wood is just glucose, but in long polymers. You put it in a fireplace, you ignite it, you provide gas to it, and it burns, and it releases carbon dioxide, water. But what's the difference?
It's not reversible with the reaction.
Okay, well, I mean, to some extent it is, because the carbon dioxide from the wood you burn, and we haven't covered this yet, but it could be taken up by a plant and remade into glucose. So in that sense, it's reversible also. But there's one...
It's not releasing water, right?
It does also release water, yeah.
They don't have the same, or they don't produce the same energy molecules.
Right. So when we break all this apart, we're taking this complex molecule, right? And we're breaking it into small pieces, which is an endergonic or exergonic reaction. If you take a big complex thing and you break it apart, exergonic reaction. So we're going to release energy. So what we do is we repackage the energy as ATP. When you burn wood, that energy just, what? It goes up in smoke, right? It literally burns and the heat is released. So same reactants, same products, with the exception of we make ATP from the energy. When you just burn the wood, you release all the energy as heat, light, and sound. But other than that, it's the same basic process. So cell respiration is sort of a controlled burn, if you want to think of it that way, like a controlled enzymatically catalyzed burn of glucose. So just to sort of to preview what we'll talk about, or what Jeff will talk about on Monday, when we take in glucose and breathe in oxygen, we go through the process of cell respiration in our mitochondria to make the ATP, to use it for whatever we need to. That's our goal, right? We have this common currency that all these different reactions can use. And we release as a waste product water and carbon dioxide. And the beauty is that the water and carbon dioxide can be taken in by a plant, and through the process of photosynthesis, carbons connected together to make glucose, electrons stripped from water to make oxygen. And the even more sort of deeper beauty of it is that the reactions that occur in the mitochondria in cell respiration are very similar at the molecular level to the reactions that occur in photosynthesis. So we spend a ton of time on cell respiration. Well, we would have. We spent a modest amount of time this time. Because if you understand cell respiration, you already understand photosynthesis. There really isn't anything deeply different about them. right? One uses the products from the other, and vice versa. So, what's this ATP we keep talking about? Adenosine triphosphate. So, why is it called triphosphate? All right. So, when you take adenosine, this is adenine, that nitrogenous base, connected to a sugar, connected to phosphates. Where else have we seen this molecule, by the way? I heard it.
Oh, it's the A DNA.
Yeah, it's the A, not of DNA, but of A, T, C, and G of DNA. I always think I'm going to confuse people when I say it's the A of DNA. But yes, it is indeed the A of DNA. So this is one of those great examples of one molecule being used for lots of different purposes. So when we break this molecule down into ADP, or adenosine diphosphate, why is it called diphosphate? Two phosphates, right? 1, 2, instead of 1, 2, 3. Energy is released. So is this an endergonic or exergonic reaction going from ATP to ADP? Exergonic. Energy, very cartoonishly illustrated there, is released in the process. So I'll just give you a moment to sketch this out. All right, you don't have to make it pretty, but I just want to make sure everybody sort of has the basics down on paper. Don't worry about making all of the shapes exactly the same. You're welcome to just abbreviate it as an A connected to a sugar connected to 3 P's or something. But I just want everyone to see the relationship between them physically. And once you finish sketching them out, just take a moment, given that this is an exergonic reaction where energy is released, discuss with your neighbor where you should position an arrow to illustrate where the energy is stored in the ATP that's being released.